everybody, my name is Sylvain Rochon and I'm getting people to expand their human experience using cutting-edge technology. Today, I guess it would be an update on self-driving vehicles in general. I'm going to be talking about automated flying vehicles. I believe I've mentioned this before. Most of the major manufacturers are deploying, or actually will be selling, automated cars by about 2020. It's anticipated that about 10 million cars will be on the road that are at least partially automated by 2020. And by partially automated, I mean level 3, 4, or 5 automation. So level 3 is you still have a driver that needs to be there, and the car does a few things that are automated, like some of the driving, for example, like the cruise control. You wouldn't need to put your hands on the wheel at all. It would actually slow down and maneuver during the cruise control, which is more advanced than what you do here, including the automated parking, things that we already have, kinda, but not quite. Level 4 is the car can do most of the driving, and the driver is still needed to do certain maneuvers in certain situations. And level 5 is a full automation, 100% automated. So by 2020, we'll have a lot more automated in land vehicles, including as well. We have a bunch of companies that are working on trucks, that are working on a whole bunch of other land vehicles that would have one of those categories or levels of automation. And that's really cool. And most of it, the intention at least in a few years after that, would be to move towards level 4 and level 5 automation. And most people don't need to buy cars anymore. It's more of a subscription or a rental model. And we're freeing our cities from having all this parking that's going on. And actually, there's about 25% of this land usage of cities is in parking, because 23 hours out of 24, your car, if you have one, is actually parked somewhere. So all these cars are parked most of the time and unused. Whereas when you have automated vehicles, you can use a sharing program where the vehicles are constantly moving, and you can recuperate that 25% of the land mass into more housing, more businesses, or parks, green stuff, trees, whatever else you need. Now, what's even more interesting is these same manufacturers, including technology manufacturers that are working on AI and automation itself, like Intel, Uber, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and a bunch of other companies. And a bunch of them are actually startups all over the world that are building technology itself. Manufacturers can continue manufacturing the cars, but you have technology companies working on the artificial intelligence and new designs and things like that. They're also working on flying vehicles. And there's two different types of flying vehicles. One of them is more like a drone. It flies like a helicopter. Some of them that we've been looking at as far as reporting, they have a 50-kilometer range, 100 kilometers an hour, but it doesn't sound like much. But you're flying over stuff, so you can go from one part of a city to another part of the city before it needs to recharge. So these are really cool concepts. You can avoid the roads altogether. You can go from one building to another building, a spot of the city to a building, whatever, because you're actually flying over top, a little bit like a helicopter. Other are VTOLs, vertical takeoff and landing vehicles. So they have a helicopter type takeoff and landing. So small footprint for takeoff and landing, like in cities, for example, or helipads. But when they get to a certain speed, they can go up to 300 kilometers an hour and have a range of 300 kilometers approximately on a single charge, because it's way more energy efficient to fly like an airplane when you're going horizontal than by like a drone or a helicopter. And these are all electric. Just like all the electric, the automated vehicles that we're talking about, the land vehicles, they are also all electric, so very quiet. And the VTOL flying vehicles would be great to go between cities, because they have sufficient range to do that, even in North America. So these are all things that are being developed and tested. Some of them are being even trialed and piloted in Dubai, which is and in China, some of the countries that are, they like to test stuff. They want to feel like they're more advanced than others, for example. That's part of the philosophy of these parts of the world. So we're going to be seeing these pilots by the end of this year, 2017, which is really cool. So we'll be able to see from those countries that are more regulated, we'll be able to see how it works out for these areas that are testing them out. And the intention, at least for the Western Hemisphere in Europe, is to have some of these flying vehicles, automated vehicles. They can also be ground controlled, like remote controlled. So you have passengers, then you have a real human controller controlling the drone or vehicle, or fully automated, whatever. To have them out by 2020, possibly. But more likely because of the complications of having air vehicles running around, probably more like 2025, I would suspect, or even 2030, if there is significant resistance from the population and or fear. But I would suspect 2025 will add a fleet or small fleets of flying vehicles to the automated fleets of subscribed vehicles eventually that will be running around, ferrying us from point A to point B without cars parked everywhere. I imagine all those streets in the cities that during the day don't have all these cars parked. These lanes can be used for bicycles or just driving around. And my favorite is to plant more green inside the cities. They can just plant those lanes, with green stuff and flowers and whatever to get some more oxygen inside the cities and let it breathe a bit more. That would be really, really great. And the roads will probably be way less congested. Not because of they'll have flying taxis running around, not so much, because you may not have that many of them. I don't know. But just because self-driven cars that are networked can drive way more efficiently, so you don't have any traffic jams and have way fewer accidents as well. So this is all very, very cool stuff. I just wanted to give you an update on the flying component. These will be out, and so if you have access to some of those, if you want to commute from the airport to your office or from your home to your office and have access, you don't need to drive or have a self-driven cars drive you for 45 minutes. You can probably take a 5-minute VTOL ride over to wherever you need to go, and you don't need to buy it. It's a subscription service, just like, and it's on a charge, so it's not more expensive necessarily for the distance than ride in an actual car, although probably it's going to be more expensive because the vehicle itself is likely more expensive to build, I'm assuming. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say for now. It's 2025, 2030, the cities are probably going to look and sound a lot different because of all these automated electric quiet vehicles, air and ground, that will be around with a lot fewer fumes and way fewer cars parked everywhere. Exciting times. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what you hear, like and subscribe and share the video as you will. And if you have some comments or you want to suggest some other topics for my next videos, please comment below. I'll be happy to read you. And until next week or our next video, I bid you farewell.